Hello everyone, I'm Tharika Malpaperu. Today, I'm going to show you how we can secure our APIs with Mutual SSL Authentication using WSO2 API Manager. It is really important to take steps in order to ensure the security of our APIs. There are multiple mechanisms that we can use in order to do this. We can use JWT, we can use Auth2 or basic authentication to protect our APIs. Mutual SSL is one such mechanism. It talks about two parties authenticating each other through digital certificates. It is a communication between a client and a server. First, the client requests access to a protected resource, then the server presents its certificate to the client. Then the client verifies the server's certificate. If successful, the client sends its certificate to the server. The server verifies the client credentials. If successful, the server grants access to the protected resource requested by the client. So now I will show you how we can do this using WSO2 API Manager. The first thing we have to do is preparing the certificates. So for this purpose, we need a certificate plus the private key. You can use whatever mechanism that you want to generate these certificates and the private key, but I will use this mechanism. First, I will generate a self-signed certificate using the Java key tool. So let me copy this command. Here we have to enter certain details in order to get the certificate. So let me enter my name. Let's give some details. Organization. Let's give the city. Province. And here we have to show that this is correct. So it's yes. So now the key store named keystore.jks is formed. After that, my next step would be to convert the JKS key store to the industry standard PKCS 12 key store. So I'll copy this command and execute it. Here we need to enter a password. So I'll enter my password. I'll enter my source key password. Okay, so then it is successfully imported. Next thing to do is to export the client certificate. So I'll copy this command. I named it as myself cert. I'll give the password. Okay. The final step is to export the unencrypted private key. I'll give my password. Verified. So I have my certificate called myself cert and the private key file. So these two are the files that we need in order to do this Mutual SSL authentication with WSO2 API Manager. After this, what we have to do is invoke the API. So I will show you two methods of invoking the API. One is using Postman and the other is using a curl command. So I have already started a server. This is WSO2 API Manager 3.10. I have started this server. Now I will first create an API in API Manager to represent or host my API. I'll log in as user. Okay, so I will start creating an API. Let's design a new REST API. I'll name it as new API. Give the context and the version. So for the endpoint, I have to give the endpoint of my API or the backend API. So as the backend API, what I have used is Moku. So this is available for download. And this is the default API that is provided by it. So the resource is the get resource named, which has the context users. So I'll be giving the endpoint of this API as the backend. I'm creating my API. It is HTTP port is 3000. That's the base URL. So as the business plan, I'll give unlimited. Let's create the API. Okay, so the API is created now. Under resources, I'll add the get resource. I'll give the context as users. You saw the context. And I will remove the rest of the default context, which are not required. Then let's save. Okay. Now, one very important thing to do is to configure the runtime configuration. That is where uh, we specify whether it's protected using Mutual SSL or auth and whatever it is. So under transport level security, we have to tick the Mutual SSL option and make it mandatory. Then what we had to do is we had to add the certificate or the client certificate that we got earlier. So I'll add the certificate that I used, and the business plan I'll select as unlimited. And as the alias, the alias that we have to give is the alias that we used when creating the certificate. Here, when I create the certificate, the alias that I gave was self-signed set. So I'll copy it and put it here. Right. Then let's see. Okay, so it's added. Then there's one special thing that we have to do under application level security. We have to make auth 2 as optional. So then the reason for doing that is you don't have to give an authorization header when you're invoking the API if that is made optional. Right, so now let's save the API. Okay, now we are good to go. Let's publish the API so that we can invoke it. So the first method that I will tell you for invoking this API is using Postman. So let's go to Postman. So here, this is the URL that I specified. Localhost, and remember the port as 8243. That's the gateway port that we use to invoke the API. So we need only this URL. When you're invoking this API using Postman, one important thing to do is to fix the settings. So let's select the settings of Postman. I'm going to add the certificate and the private key that we took before. So under client certificates, let's add the certificate. So the host will be localhost in our case, and the port is 8243. Certificate file will be this, and our key file will be this. We don't need to specify PFX file. As the passphrase, you have to give the password that we have given before in creating the certificates. Now it's added. So now you see the client certificate is added. Then under the general tab, you have to disable SSL certificate verification. Okay, that is because it's a self-signed certificate. Click on send. Here you can see the successful response of the API. Now let's invoke the API using the curl command. So this is the curl command. Let me copy it. So here you need to give the endpoint of the API. Let's copy the endpoint from here. So you can see that I have given the name of the certificate and the private key file here. Now let's invoke. So you can see the correct response coming from the backend. So we have successfully invoked the API from the curl command. So now I showed you how you can successfully invoke an API with Mutual SSL Authentication using Postman and the curl command. So these are the links to the official documentation for API Manager 3 and API Manager 2.6 so that you can use in order to refer about Mutual SSL Authentication support. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you like this video, do not forget to hit the like button. And if you need more content like this, please subscribe to this channel, DIY Tech. Thank you.